Colts Nation, if helmets or helmet accessories interest you, make sure to go to greengridiron.com and use code INDSYN at checkout to get the discount code with it. Whether it's mini helmets, full-size helmets, visors, clips, whatever it may be, different face masks, different variations of helmets, alternate helmets, whatever the case, you can get it at Green Gridiron. And again, that's code INDSYN at checkout for the discount. Thanks for stopping by for another video, and now let's get into it.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit about the quarterback situation, some more stuff that's come out. Of course, recently we talked about Russell Wilson, and now we're going to talk about another veteran quarterback, going to be Aaron Rodgers. As you can tell, by the title, as you can tell by the thumbnail, we're not going to waste time here. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers and whether or not it would be a good idea. Now, are we going to bring him in? Like, I feel like chances are that's probably not going to happen. Like, it seems like the Vikings or the Steelers could be like the leading teams to go get him. But for the sake of offseason conversation, right? If you talk about why would you do it? Why wouldn't you do it? Why would you do it? Well, he's Aaron Rodgers. And I think he showed that even like an old guy coming off of an Achilles injury, things didn't go well for the Jets. As much talent as they had on that team, they just couldn't put it together, figure out how to win. Even when they performed better toward the end of the year, really just couldn't figure out how to win as a team. And but Aaron Rodgers, I thought, showed that he still has it. Right at the end of the year, especially once he got Devontae over there, and then had Devontae and Garrett Wilson. I thought you saw that he still has it. He can still spin it. Still one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And obviously that offensive line wasn't great either. That's what we could provide for him, is a better offensive line. But also, so can the Steelers. Not so much the Vikings, but nonetheless, having a good offensive line, having a good run game, like having plenty of complementary weapons, and hopefully upgrading the tight end position on offense. Like any quarterback that we sign, like it should be a fairly quarterback friendly scheme that we run in a team that should be fairly quarterback friendly. So from that aspect, it would make sense. And of course, from the aspect of competition, it would make sense. Aaron Rodgers is coming in to compete, which would be cool. AR competing with AR. But Aaron Rodgers coming in to compete with Anthony Richardson. And I mean, you can't put much more pressure on your quarterback than bringing in Aaron Rodgers, paying him whatever that's going to take to bring him in. And you're also going to have to make sure that Aaron Rodgers, fine with being in quarterback competition, fine with being in a situation where he might not win the job, and still being on the team, right? A guy that, hey, if you lose the job, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to hang it up. Like, we're signing you so that you can compete with AR, and so that if anything happens to AR, we bring you in and we can still win games. So that, I mean, from that aspect, of course, there's value in it. But when you start to look at the other side of it, right, and bring in an older quarterback, well, what if his skills do diminish in the all? We've seen it happen plenty of quarterbacks. These guys that are good late in their careers, so they keep playing and they keep going and trying to chase that ring one more time. And at the end of the day, the same thing always happens, right? All the greats end up playing 1 year too long. Their skills have diminished. The things they can do aren't the same as what they were before, so they put themselves in what used to be advantageous positions, all of a sudden very disadvantageous. And so coming into this, again, Aaron Rodgers can still spin it, and it'd be great to see him come in and to be able to make magic happen in this offense under Shane Steichen, right? I think he'd be a really good veteran presence for all the young guys on the offense and everything you bring. Like, there's a lot of things you could say about Aaron Rodgers, and a lot of things people will say about Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure, in the comments, and everything about, his character and this and that, and the kind of person he is and where he leans politically. Like, who cares? All I care about, like, when we talk about stuff on this channel, it's pretty much only, hey, what's happening on the field? Like, how does this guy perform on the field? How is this guy going to help us win games on Sunday? That's really what I'm concerned about. I don't care about what he does in his personal life. I don't care about his personal beliefs. It's none of my business. I don't care. What I do care about is winning football games as a Colts fan and getting to the playoffs and trying to win a Super Bowl. And if Aaron Rodgers can help us do that, then hey, man, do it. That's where I'm at. Like, because Anthony has to have competition. Anthony needs the biggest competition we can possibly get him. He needs to know, bro, just because you got the job back last season doesn't mean you're going to get the job back going into 2025. Like, you will be tested. And if you falter, that's on you. You need to come prepared. You need to do what's necessary to become a better quarterback for this team for the future. And as we continue to move on, you got to be the guy that we expected you to be. You got to develop into the guy that everybody is expecting you to develop into. We're not going to sit here and keep wasting time. People's jobs are at stake this season. People's jobs at stake 2025. If things don't work, everybody's fired. Everybody, and a lot of the players will probably be happy about that, right? Getting to go somewhere where they can try to win. We've had a lot of guys for a lot of time, but nonetheless, we lose in 2025. What we see in 2026 is going to be vastly different from what we saw in 2025. So it's going to be interesting to see how do things develop as we. There was that billboard, who knows if it was real or not, but there was that billboard about the Colts not going after Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, the Colts would never actually put a billboard up like that. Maybe somebody else did. Maybe it was just Photoshop. I assume it was just Photoshop. But nonetheless, it's been too long since we were a team to really be fearful of in the NFL, team that you could be confident going into every Sunday. Hey, we really got a chance to win here. It hasn't been like that in a while. And whatever has to happen, if that's going to be Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, if that's going to be AR getting better, us actually, you're right, Chris Ballard actually building the team in a way that isn't, hey, we're just going to draft guys and re-sign all our own guys. Like, we have to see a different approach from the front office, and maybe we'll see a different approach trickled down from the coaching to the players and everything. Things can change, man. If you're willing to change yourself, the things around you can change. And I do believe that because I've lived that, in my own way and in my own right, and surrounded myself with the right people over time, right? Like, it can happen. So, and I think we have a lot of guys in the building that are the right guys. I just think there's some guys that shouldn't be here anymore. I think there's some turnover that needs to happen, where we're going to have to cut some guys, open up some cap space, bring some new guys in, some veteran guys, some superstars is what we need to do. We need to bring in a superstar too, and then fill the roster out with some really good, cheaper veteran players. That's kind of how I see things working. And will Aaron Rodgers fit into that? Again, probably not. But this is a massive conversation, so don't hate me for bringing it up. Please don't be mad at me for bringing it up. It was a conversation that was an inevitable conversation that we had to have. And of course, with the relationship Aaron Rodgers has to Pat McAfee, maybe that could sway him, right? The Jets didn't want Aaron Rodgers doing the Pat McAfee show anymore. That was one of the stipulations. Hey, if we're going to keep you in New York, we don't want you doing the Pat McAfee show appearances. And I'm sure that wasn't the only deal breaker, but I'm sure that was included, right? Trying to limit Aaron Rodgers' freedom as a 41, 42-year-old man. You can see how that's probably not going to work out. So we'll see what happens with Aaron. Again, probably not going to be a Colt, but we'll see what happens. Somebody's got to come in and be competition for Anthony Richardson at some point. So we'll see what happens with that. Free agency around the corner. We're going to start diving into how you guys built the team and how I want to build the team. And we're going to compare. That content is going to be what's coming through the rest of the week. So make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you get notified anytime we're dropping more content on this channel. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.